are back at Cadwell Park for the first event of 2024. It is freezing, it's 5 degrees, there is a God knows what miles an hour wind blowing, and I can hardly feel my fingers or my toes, but it's not raining. The sun keeps coming out and in. It's forecast showers at some point, but not much, so fingers crossed we have a much drier day than we did last year and we can put a decent time in. We've got 5 cars in the class. We've got Porsche Boxster, Porsche 911, Jaguar XKR and the Ford Focus ST in front of us. So we'll see how we get on. Should be interesting. We've got a few upgrades and downgrades since last year. We've got this Cooler Works shifter that feels absolutely awesome. Short shifter. We've also had the gearbox reconditioned, so we've got new third and sixth synchro, so it goes into third, no problem at all now, no crunching. The problem is I wish I'd have had second done, because second's quite hard to get into. I don't know if that is the gearbox, it's not crunching, but yeah, second's a struggle, but other than that it feels awesome. We've had a new fuel system-y thing put in, a radium anti-surge tank. So for those that know, the 350Z suffers from fuel starvation on long right-handers. It's got a saddle tank, and when all the fuel sloshes to one side, the pump at the other side can't pump anything. So you have to run on tracks with long right-handers, you have to run with a lot of fuel in the tank, which is not optimal. So the radium kit puts a pump at the other side of the tank as well, links the two together, so wherever the fuel is in the tank, you've always got a pump pumping it to the engine. So that should help on the tracks that need it, including here. The downside to that is the fuel sender units never know what fuel's in the tank, so the fuel gauge just reads all over the place. Like right now I have got nothing in. I know I've got about a quarter of a tank, but the gauge says I've literally got no miles at all and the light's on. But then when I drive around the track and I slosh the fuel about, at some point it'll go back up, but that's going to be a nightmare trying to remember how much fuel is in the tank and trying to gauge it. But I know I've got enough to last today, that's the main thing. What else have we done? We've done both rear wheel bearings. So over the second half of last year we had a lot of, on the motorway, it was like a noise, which I thought was a diff, but no, at the MOT man said your rear wheel bearings need doing. So we've got them done and that's alleviated that issue. Have we done anything else? Oh yeah, we've had all new coil packs and spark plugs put in as well. But ironically enough, it made less power on the dyno this time than last time. But it feels good anyway. It's 10 horsepower down supposedly, but driving it, I can't notice that. Just when I put the cams in, it got 10 horsepower more. I never noticed that either, so I think it's going to make very little difference. And it's got more mid-range torque, which is the main thing. So let's see how we get on. This is just practice. It's a very cold tyres. I don't even know what pressure my tyres are. Completely unorganised today. Forgot my licence. I've had to come here and get a photograph sent of my licence to get signed on. Like I say, I dare even check my tyre pressure. They're going to be low because I left them at 28 and 32 the last time I checked a few weeks back. And they're probably at that now, which is not optimal, but I can't be bothered changing them. We'll see how it feels on the first run. If it feels a bit wallowy and all over, then we'll put a bit more pressure in, because they're not going to go up too much today at 5 degrees. The track's just not going to warm up, and there's a really stiff breeze, so any heat you get in the tyres is quickly going to be blown off when it's stuck in the field.
speed. Yeah.
Cheers, bud. Yeah, it's only when you're actually on track that you realise all the like inclines. You don't realise how steep it is until you actually sat on the tarmac. I see, from last year I thought this was just level here, but it's quite a steep uphill off the start. Tyre wise, we're on last year's AO52s, which are the best tyre, but I've got hardly any tread left whatsoever, so I need it to stay dry. If it starts raining, we're just going to have to tiptoe around. I'm getting some AD09s next week for this year, which is a step backwards, but the AO52s, there's a couple of reasons. The AO52s are so expensive. I mean, they are the best tyre you can get in class 1B by a mile, but they're so expensive. The AD09s, from the videos I've seen, are about half a second to a second a lap slower, so it is going to affect my times 100%, but they'll last twice as long, so they'll easily last the season, and I'll have no issues with if it's raining or not, have I got enough tread. So yeah, we're going to give them a go. And then the main thing is that they're £800 a set, where AO52s are £1,200 to £1,300 for this car, so you're saving £100 a corner, and in a cost of living crisis, that's a hell of a lot of money. So yeah, we're going to take a step backwards next week from tyres, but I am on last year's AO52, so if it stays dry and if the sun stays out, fingers crossed, they should be good today, because they do heat up really quick, and it is freezing, as I keep saying. fuel thing worked or not, because it cut it out there a bit, didn't it? But it shouldn't have done. So we're coming down for timed run number 1, and it started spitting, for Christ's sake. So yeah, mixed reviews on that practice run. I got 105 seconds, which is 5 seconds quicker than my best time last year in the wet, so we're happy with that. The target time's 102, I got 105, so we're 3 seconds off the target time. Should be doable if we get a dry run at the end of the day, because by any stretch that last run was very sketchy. But we're not going to do it on this run with it spitting, unless it literally stops now and the sun comes out, which it has, and puts a bit of heat into the tyres and track. But it's still 5 degrees, it's freezing cold out there. Yeah, we're going to, looking at the sky, it's just grey clouds and white clouds. We're going to get some rain at some point, but let's just hope it's not too severe. Don't know if I got fuel starvation or not. I'm going to leave it. I've put the other 10 litres in that I've got. I mean, funnily enough, the tank's reading 3/4 of a tank. You've just got no idea how much fuel's in. So on the first run I was at 0 with a light flashing. You stick 10 litres in and I'm now at 3/4 of a tank, so I don't know, I should have about half a tank now, I think. But I'll leave it in 3rd gear after that last bend, because it may have been something to do with me changing down to 2nd, flooring it, changing up to 3rd, flooring it. The ECU or the traction control or something might have just gone no. Although I have got traction control off, so it shouldn't have done that. But we'll try and not leave anything to chance. I've checked the pressures are okay. 28 on the rear, 33 on the front, which is exactly as I set them a week or 2 back at home, thinking that they would go up 2 or 3 psi and then they're at the optimal window, but they ain't going to go up today, I don't think. But it felt okay. Tyre wise it did feel okay, so it's not the end of the world. We'll leave them as they are. Right, first timed run. It's just stopped spitting, so it's hard to say looking at the clouds. This could be the best run of the day we get, or the worst, who knows. But the track looks mainly dry. We're only a very brief light shower, so just got to watch these top bends, very, very slippy. The brush holding technique's not up to scratch, so we've devised a new method of stopping the car rolling back. it's anything to do with fuel. Is it traction or something? Something's just cutting out. It's not happy. Right, we're getting a second run in before lunch. Conditions very similar to previous. We've just had a little shower, then the sun come out, and now it's overcast, so pretty much I think it's going to be like this all day. But yeah, so last run not ideal again. 102 seconds though, so we shave 3 seconds off. There's still plenty of time out there. The Jag in front there is winning with 101 at the minute, so he's a second in front of me. But out of that last corner again, it just cut power, and it can't be fuel starvation because I've got well over half a tank in now. So I don't know what it is. I've got traction control off, so whether it's the ECU, something weird happening, I don't know. And then we missed a few apexes, that didn't help, and we had that misshift down back straight. Because it's so short is this shifter, in my head I don't think it's in gear, but it probably is. So I'm trying to force it, I'm trying to put it further into a gear that's not actually there. It only needs a little clunk in. So we'll try and be a bit smoother on the gears. I might give it like 3/4 throttle out of that last corner rather than full throttle, and see if that makes any difference to keep the power down. So I'm losing on the 2 runs so far. I've lost over a second on the last sector, which is that out of the last corner and the hesitation. So yeah, it's costing me big time. So let's see how it goes. Let's try and hit some apexes. Let's hope the car performs. We'll see what time we get. It looks ominous up there with the grey clouds. There's a lot of oil on the track, but it's here at the start line, so some car has not been happy dumping oil on just before the start line. Luckily it's not on the actual track, so Alex has struggled to get away again there. So let's see if we can do any better. Go on, 100 or 101. Come on car, play ball. nice scruffy lap again. Weird, I need to figure out what that is, but I don't think it's going to be figured out here today, why it's just cutting power after that last corner. Something not happy. Right, we're on timed run 3. We've just had lunch, the weather has held up, so no more rain. This could be the best run of the day, but it's very annoying, that issue after that last corner. It's just cutting power. It's done it 3 times in a row, so it's going to do it again. I don't know, I'm racking my brain as to what it could be. Maybe it needs mapping out, maybe it's something in the ECU, maybe it's G-forces that are kicking in, I don't know. It shouldn't be doing it, but it is, which is annoying. So we'll have to see if it happens at other tracks as well. Yeah, so good conditions, although it is still freezing. The track's cold, the tyres are cold, but the sun's out. It's as good as it's going to get today in March. I need to be more precise with my cornering. I'm still learning the track. It's a bloody hard track to learn, is Cadwell. Still making errors on every single run. Could really do with some tuition from a master that, you know, where to brake, where to turn in. But we'll give it its best. I'll try and be a bit braver. I'm still braking way too early after, is it Park Straight, the long straight uphill, where I'm braking at the 2 board, the marker board, and it's still, I'm slowing down way too easy, so I can be braver there. The gear changes, I need to just put it in and leave it. I keep, because it's such a short throw from 3rd to 4th, when I'm changing out on track, it feels like it needs to go some more, but obviously it doesn't, because when I'm then leaving it, letting out, it's in gear. It's just in my head, because I'm used to bringing it back with a standard gearbox. So far, it just doesn't feel like it's in. So I just need to flick it down and put the power down, which is something I'll get used to, obviously. It's just so alien from how it was before. have shaved a few temps off, we'll see. Right, final run of the day, run 4. Well, that last one was a 101.5, so we shaved another half a second off. Cut power at the exact same point, so it's going to do it again, guaranteed, but let's see if we can neaten up the rest of the lap and shave any more off. The aim is another half a second. Let's see if we can get below 101, but there's still loads of time out there. I can still brake later after the very long straight. I can still hit more apexes. So let's see how we get on. Right, unfortunately Alex had an off, who was leading the class, so that's the end of his day. Hopefully he's alright. Back underway. was any quicker. Not sure, not sure. Messed the second part of Charlie's up, went way too slow there. I tried taking the first part a lot quicker and then outbrake myself. So the second part was very slow, and then you carry that all down that back straight. So yeah, probably similar time to the others, but we've made it back in one piece. I'll have to look at that issue with the whatever it is, and see how we get on next time at Anglesey. Right, we've made it back from Cadwell, and the main thing is we're back in one piece. There's a few issues with the car, but hopefully nothing too major. The weather was much better than last year, although as mentioned on the video, it was cold all day, the really strong wind, and I don't think it ever got above about 6 degrees, so the tyres were never warmed up at all, but it stayed dry 95% of the time, so that's the main thing you hope for, especially this time of year for the first event with the notorious British weather we can get. So you know, we're straight into decent times. The target time for the BARC Championship and another one I'm doing, I think, was 1:02. And we finished, the best run was the third run with a 1:01.5. So we bet that, new record for them championships. Come second on the day. Alex was slightly in front of me on every run, always a second or so in front. I think he finished about 2.5 seconds in front on his best run, which was a really, really good time. Yeah, I was never going to get near that yesterday. So unfortunately though, on his last run, he binned it straight, the car snapped and it went straight into the barrier, so there's a lot of damage on that. And a lot of people went off straight away at the same place, so when we were starting, you go straight into the S's, and I think people are that eager to actually get power down and get the speed up that as soon as they start going through the S's, they're giving it too much throttle and just losing the car. So 4 or 5 people went off straight away at the first bend, the first chicane if you like, without even getting into the lap. So yeah, I think the idea there was to not just give it full throttle and ease your way in, which is what I did, thankfully. I was always getting that hesitation out of the last corner, and yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna have to see if it reoccurs anywhere else. I did on the way home, I did a few like rolling starts and flooring it just to try and emulate the same thing, but it was fine. So real weird one that. Like I say, I don't think it's anything to do with the fuel issue, because the long right-hander was a bit before that, and if I were ever going to get fuel starvation, it were there, but I've now got a pump on that side anyway, so yeah, I think it's just something with the ECU connections or G-force sensor or something that doesn't like that particular part after, because you've gone every which way before then. There's a sharp downhill, then it's a sharp left, and then a sharp acceleration, so the car's doing like 3 different things in the space of a couple of seconds. So maybe something on board just doesn't like the sensors. I don't know. If anybody's got any ideas, put it in comments. But yeah, I'll have to see if that reoccurs anywhere else. So we're going to Anglesey in a couple of weeks, the full Saturday and Sunday, same as last year, the same layouts, national and international I think it is. So that should be good, and then we've got Harewood the following week after that, the first event at Harewood, which I always do well on. So gear shifting was hit and miss. I do love that short shifter, but for whatever reason the 3rd to 4th just doesn't seem like it's going in gear. It obviously is, but it doesn't seem it. So there are a couple of instances where I put it back into neutral, back into 4th, expecting it to clunk or to go further, and it didn't. Where I mean, moving forward, I just need to get used to it, and it's just a tap. It's almost like a sequential. You just tap it down and it's there. That's all it does. So yeah, overall the gear shifter's superb. The fueling issue, I need to try it on another track, try it on Anglesey with low, because I got fuel starvation at Anglesey last year. So yeah, we'll run with 1/4 of a tank to save weight and see if it does it. And if it does, if I get the same thing, then obviously the issue at Cadwell was still fuel starvation, and the extra kit I've put on, the radium tank kit, obviously doesn't help. But hopefully it will. Hopefully it's nothing to do with that, and yeah, I can run low fuel. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, second in class on the day, Cadwell, good points for whatever championships it counts towards. And we got home in one piece, that's the main thing. Onwards and upwards. Thank you.